What I believe has happened is over the years, the body of knowledge that I have tapped into, the forums, the reading, uh, YouTube, whatever, that knowledge, a lot of it is incidental or anecdotal. One good experience does not make a trend. So some people share a great experience, and that great experience leads them to say, this is the best stone I ever used. They used it once, on one night. One situation and had a good outcome, and that makes it the best. So that's what I say. Be flexible, be open, don't be rigid. I don't know what's best. That's why I'm doing this and messing with all that stone and taking pictures and trying to figure it out. So that, because I don't know what works. What works with one steel may not work with another steel, even though they're the same hardness. Not when I say work, I mean give you that results that you want. It's just, that's the rabbit hole. That's when we get there that we're looking and really scrutinizing and studying. That's what I'm doing, is I'm studying and I'm making these anecdotal comments and I'm keeping a list and I'm trying to compare one stone with the other so that when somebody says something about how a stone cuts and can you get a coarser stone, and someone else says, well, that's a good polisher and not a good cutter, that's because that person has used it long enough compared to other stones to recognize the quality. I'm getting there. I have some pretty good experience-based knowledge, but I have more stones than the knowledge that represents what they do. And I'm working on that. I'm trying to learn how to put them together. If you do them stepwise, grit-wise, how I'm suggesting with the overlap, you'll get good outcomes if you put the time in and attention to detail. It's not the only way to do it. That is what works for me. Just like the email says they do the strokes this way, that way. That's what works for them. And that's great. But be open to try something else because that worked when you did it with that steel and that knife in that situation does not mean that's the best way to do everyone. There's different steels behave differently. It may be what you like to use best, and all in all, it gives you, just like I clamp a knife a certain way and I do a certain regimen, that gives me the best outcomes in most cases, in most situations. So that's what I do it, and that's where we come up with that. But what happens is too many of us make those decisions to do that based on not enough data, not enough experience, not enough variety to give you that point of view. So let me see, back and forth. Okay. Edge trailing versus edge leading. Let me talk about that real quick. At the beginning, and this goes for, I think, Mr. Mila with the bad shoulder. This is like, a lot of this is like riding a bicycle. You're moving your arms like riding a bicycle. I don't know if you can see it, I have a artificial shoulder for 15 years on this one. And anyways, I can do it. It's not impactful, it's not hard, and it may be good for your arthritis to do that. Now go into what the other person is saying about the up and off. It used to be years ago that the strokes that most people were using were like this longitudinal, and actually they were up and off longitudinal because it was safe. You're going up and away from the blade, and you're sharpening the length of it. And it was easy for people to do. And it gave good outcomes. But we've learned over the years through feedback from different people sharpening and whatever, that the edge leading stroke tends to deburr the apex, and it may not be as keen as the apex from an edge trailing stroke. It also doesn't have that wired edge aspect, but it's still the same angle, because the guide rods and the position set the angle. Whether you're coming down and on or up and off, it's still the same angle, but the steel gets massaged differently. Let me stop here.